Well, to discuss the science behind what we've been seeing, we can cross live now to Geneva to speak with James Duris, who works as a meteorologist in the Disaster Risk Reduction Division at the World Meteorological Organization. Thank you very much for speaking to us here on France 24. Could you please begin by explaining for us why, meteorologically speaking, we're seeing such an extreme pattern of weather at the moment?
Well, it's been very quiet in the Atlantic season for a number of years, and this is picking up quite rapidly in this year. And what we're finding is that the water temperatures in the Atlantic through the Gulf of Mexico are quite high, and this is causing adding fuel to these storms. So the atmospheric conditions turn out to be correct, lack of wind shear or crosswinds to the storms. The environment is overall very good, but the seawaters are quite warm. And as you see with Hurricane Irma, once the eye gets off of Cuba, they're forecasting for this storm, even over a very short period of time, to go from its current status of a Category 3 back up to a strong Category 4.
Now, you work in the Risk Reduction Division at the WMO. How do you try to limit the damage caused by hurricanes?
There are a number of ways that you can do this. One is effective planning, which means that you have to have good information about your risk and structural integrity of the various buildings where they are located. And once you understand what your risk is to these storms, then you can map out where your evacuation areas are, where people are susceptible to storm surge, to flooding, which is the major cause of death in these type of storms. But effective planning as far as evacuation plans, people's knowledge of how to protect themselves in these storms, when to evacuate, who are the authorities to listen to. These are things that need to be done well beforehand.
And were those measures in place on the worst affected islands in the Caribbean?
I can't really speak for those areas, but I can say that if they were not prepared at some level, the death toll would have been much, much higher. I think the warnings had gone out, and the Caribbean authorities were able to evacuate and put as many people into shelters as possible. But people still lose their lives, especially with a catastrophic storm as this.
And how much do you believe that man-made global warming is contributing to weather events like this?
I think that man-made global warming does contribute, and that is something that the WMO is studying quite extensively. They have expert groups that are looking specifically on the how climate is affecting tropical cyclones, and that's one of the things that they have come out with in a report that states that the warmer waters, coupled with atmospheric conditions that are conducive to formation and strengthening of tropical storms, will be on the rise.
James Duris from the World Meteorological Organization, thank you very much for speaking to us here on France 24.